Hi, everyone, and welcome to day three. Just a second. Maybe. So, yeah, welcome to day three. And today is an important day because we are going to talk about the core thing, basically, what it really does. How do you learn maths without having any phobia, without cramming anything, without doing the rote learning, without doing the speed thing, which is like the most dangerous thing in the maths journey, because it's been the notion from eons that children who do maths quick are the good learners at math, right? Or the ones who submits the first worksheet is good at maths, but maths is not about the speed thing, and it's been marketed that way from years and years, and that is why the notion is like math is all about speed, calculations, big numbers, and that is why a lot of math companies flourish who market themselves as the speed calculators and calculate in 99 seconds and all that um, buzzword. But then that's not maths. That's not at all maths, because what we believe in, we are not here to develop human calculators. We are way far than that generation where human there were no machines and we need to calculate the things, right? We have machines wherever we want to take the support. We can't take the support. We are in the AI generation, right? So at this point of time, the it's a crucial time that we stop developing human calculators, and we sell our kids for that reason, that their precious time on the calculation part, because we need to develop human thinkers, and there are not thinkers many around that who can think around the problem, who can go deep into the problem solving, who can sit with the problem in the time of instant gratification, which these kids are naturally born into. The delayed gratification part, which education part is missing nowadays, is epidemic, and it's not only the India problem; it's a global problem. So, you know, we need to build up children who can sit with the problem, think through it, and not only think through one way, but multiple ways. That's what where it really started. About different strategies. Why do we have to follow one way, or the teacher's way, or just it's like, and naturally children are learners, they learn the things, but they don't delve into the process, and we have been confining all the math educations in the algorithms, in the shortcut methods, in rotifying the theorems and all that stuff, that where children start feeling disconnected. You won't imagine the children who come to me who are either in college or 12th, 11th, 12th graders who are about to finish their schools. And when I sit with them 101, their major complaint is, I think I don't know since grade 4, maybe fractions, or maybe a division. And ironically, when I sit with them and I ask a little tweak problem about multiplication, they fumble in that as well. So can you imagine that the foundation is so weak? And what happens? That when children are in 11th, 12th grades, that is the point of time where parents wake up, because now it's the time they have to go to the college, and now they want the best of the college, and that time they start putting pressure to children to go into the coaching institutes and shell a hell lot of money, so that they can crack the exam. Doesn't work that way when the foundation is not strong. You can't imagine some magic wand to just wave off and children start doing the best of best in their capacities in 11th and 12th, and when the pressure is humongous on them. And that is why the mental health problems are happening nowadays. It's huge. So the whole idea over here is, of course, we need to learn maths is the profitable, maths is the most useful thing if you develop the strategy, as I talked in my yesterday's live. Math is not about the subject. It's about thinking as human thinker, as I said right now, right? We need to develop the thinkers and the problem solvers, basically, who can sit throughout, who can integrate different things together, who can learn the things in a cohesive way, not like math, science, English, history, geography. There has to be an integration of the system, which we are missing. Children, if even in the subject as well, the main point, where children start getting disconnected when it comes to fractions, because that's a first pitfall, third, fourth grade, when fraction is the combination of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And because we think that our children are calculating, so we think that they are doing well because they're solving the problems, which are like some calculation problem or something. But that is where the problem is. The first step is fractions, where children start feeling disconnected. And because now fractions is not clear, the decimals, your percentages, ratios, proportions, HCF, LCMs, everything goes for a toss, and they just do the word problems for the sake of doing it, right? There's no thinking process going into it. If you just give them something out of the textbook, children start fumbling away. Then the next pit stop is algebra, where children are like, what just suddenly happened? Where did the numbers go away? From where these, letters and alphabets are popping in? That's another disconnect, right? And then, of course, the trigonometry and calculus and all that stuff is another, and geometry and theorems, So what we can do basically is, which children are natural learners at play, not the gamification on the website or something, actually games, actually play around, actually do the things by hand. Unless and until you make your hands dirty, there is no learning happening. Basically, there's no learning from a blackboard or whiteboard to the copy or pencil, right? That's not learning. Learning happens when children sit in the communities, when they sit together, when they sit together with the friends, and when they discuss. We don't talk math. We don't talk around the problems. We don't talk around the discussions. We don't let children get their thing outside. And that is why there's a whole math, science, they're all real life things. We don't even have the courage to connect them. And that is where children start finding disconnected, because they are doing some algorithms for which they don't even know the process. They just have to cram it down and just do it. You won't imagine, when I go to parents workshops and engineering colleges workshops, professors sitting in the first row, my one basic question, very easy, third grade, fourth grade question: what is the sum of half and a third? That means of the fractions, right? 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3. And the common notion is, I'm like, oh yeah, we know how to add the fractions. And I'm like, oh my god, that's so amazing. Can you tell me the process? I don't know the answer. I want to know the process. Like, yeah, we'll take the LCM, divide the denominator, and multiply the numerators and add the numerators, and yeah, we'll get it. Okay, fine. You know how to add the fractions. And at this juncture also, there are many of them who do not know how to add the fractions, right? And so that's a different story altogether. But I'm talking about the ones who know how to add the fractions. And then my next question is, wow, you know how to add the fractions, but why did you take LCM at the first place? Pin drop silence. And the common answer throughout is, because we were told so. So this common notion for most of the concepts is like, because we were told so, that is why we are doing. We do not have any reasoning that why we are doing what we are doing. And unless and until your why is clear, your why and how won't sink in. That's one thing. Second thing, children are naturally, visual learners. We love colors. We love, the shapes and the geometry and working the things together. There's no spatial sense. There's no visual learning happening. And that is where the disconnect, because they can't see, they just see abstract numbers, right, which do not make any sense to them. Then, second point, Okay, by the way, if you are live, then please put live hashtag. I would love to. And if you're watching replay, please watch replay. Please put the hashtag replay and just disconnecting in between. Okay, so the third point, we are, the in the system where telling the answers is appreciated. An adult, a teacher, and somebody as the authoritative position asks the questions and the child has to answer. That's the norm, right? Whereas the art is in asking the questions, and we don't let people ask questions. We shun children down when they ask questions. Even if they are silly questions, they are questions because that's in the child's mind. And that's important for the child at that point of time, because if that answer is not given at that point of time, the child starts feeling disconnected, and then of course they go into that mode of cramming and just getting disconnected. Because when your heart is not into something, you would do the shortcuts, right? But when your heart is into something, you would give it your all into it, which is not happening. So art is, however, art of problem solving is important. Art of asking questions is even more important, and we need to encourage that how children should ask questions. Now there are a couple of children which I have found. Okay, they are very smart. They are very good at solving their, you know, problems, and they know their work, but they don't know how to express their work. There's no expression. They can't talk about their work. They can do the work, but they don't know what connections are they making. And that is why, that rendering the expression is such an important element, which children miss throughout, because they are not allowed to talk. They're allowed to do the problems, basically. So can you see, if you join all these things together and get the confluence, you are using all your senses in your learning. You are becoming a visual learner. You are becoming a verbal learner. You are becoming a kinesthetic learner, right? And auditory learner, visual learner, video learner. I mean, you understand what I'm trying to say, right? So basically, unless and until you put all your senses into the learning cannot happen. Otherwise, you would only do the copy pasting thing, or a very short term learning, and then move away, because you're so disconnected in your learning also. There's no integration between the concepts. So this is what we do. I do at 8 3D, and that is what the our big summer program is coming up. That's called the Primer program, and that's a 30-day program. And before that 30-day program, we do 2-day boot camp program for the parents, because unless and until, as parents, we have the common denominator. The name of the program is the common denominator. We parents, we stakeholders have to come on the same benchmark, so that we can get best for our children. Because what I'm talking here is not some math information or something. There's plenty out there, and I'm least bothered about that information. What I'm talking about here is the transformation. And unless and until we bring that strong element of transformation in the child, in learning altogether, we cannot create a generation of change makers, which I am thriving for. It's not about math, it's not about science, it's not about English or sports or music. It's something which a child has innate gifts. We need to unlayer them. And it's very easy to unlayer at this point, because once we grow, we are layered with a lot of things, and it becomes very difficult for us to unlayer. And that is what I have been learning throughout, past 3 4 years, upgrading myself from the best of the masters. I'm seeing that if what I'm doing at in my 40s, if this education I would have got in my, maybe, 10 years, 12 years, what my life would have been. What a massive growth could I have done, not only in the terms of the corporate thing, or big fat salaries. I have seen that world. I'm out of that world, and I know what am I doing right now is so much from the soul. And that is where the soul changes, basically, from inside out. And that's what transformation is required from the children, for their best. And we need to get into that transformational journey, basically. So this is what I wanted to tell, and I hope you would have liked what I have just scratched the surface today, to let people know what we are doing. There's a lot more since 3 days since I've started. There is now a Pandora box which has opened, which I used to write in my diaries, in my blog, in my inner blog, which I've not published, that which I wanted to take it to people, right? But then now it's like, I am unstoppable. I'm not going to stop this. And this is where, the work has to go. It's started now, right? And the time has come, I guess, to um, get people onto this new journey. So 2 days boot camp, which will start on the first weekend of May. The details are about to come. So if you are liking my work, I'll be sharing two platforms where I would be putting all my upcoming things. So one would be the Facebook group, and another is the WhatsApp group. So I'll put both the links here. If you are liking the work, please join the groups. You would love the conversations happening over there. And this is a very, very free platform where, you can just be you. And that's more important. So yeah, so 2 days boot camp followed by 30 days summer program, which is going to be a transformational month for you. If you put your best in that 1 month, your learning journey would accelerate by maybe 10x, 20x. I don't know at what stage you are, but I promise you that you would never see learning like before what you did. So I welcome you wholeheartedly into my programs, and I'll be announcing them soon. Please be tuned to the Facebook group or the WhatsApp group or both, whatever. And then the bonus thing, which I told that, I got scolding from my mentor day before. The reason was I had to write something, and first time I took help, not first time, but yeah, like for this work, first time I took help of ChatGPT. And this person caught it in a minute. And I was like, how did you? I refined it after taking from ChatGPT. How did you get to know? I know. I'm like, okay, yeah, of course. You are the master, right? So the point over here is, if you are working through excellence, and if you are getting mentored by people who strive for excellence, you cannot be mediocre. You cannot cheat them. You cannot cheat yourself. You have to be true to yourself. And that is what the congruence is all about. What do you say, you mean. What do you mean, you say. If I am talking about right now that, we are, Ed 3D is thriving for that, before artificial intelligence kicks in, we need to retain our human intelligence, our real intelligence. And if I am not following that, there's a mismatch. And of course, I can't sleep with that mismatch. So that was the last day. I was like, okay, no chat gpts ever now. Whatever has to come from within. The reason also for ChatGPT was, again, my one of the fear, and that is how, our fear makes us work, and let us take the desperate measures in that fearful mode. So once I populated my Ed 3D, some of the ad in one of the groups, it was like 6-7 years back, and one of the lady in the and I posted and I slept. One of the lady in the group said I made some grammatical or syntactical error. I don't remember, but the lady commented that the STEM owner, the educator who is preaching maths, should learn her English first. And I did not know this happened last night. And there was a gang in that group who really supported me for my work, and these people took their own level of fight on the group itself. And there was such a poignant points put over there. She is not teaching English, right? If you have to learn English, go to the English teacher. She's learning maths, and what she's teaching, she is perfect in that. So, but then that thing kept in my mind so much that I have become so particular about using Grammarly, and then now with the chat GPT thing came in, and I was like, Raki, where are you in your element? This is chat GPT speaking to your audience. This is not Raki talking to the audience, right? And that's where the disconnect would start happening. It's just the first step, and you would widen the step. So be you. Even if you're wrong, just do it wrong, correct it on the journey, but do it on your own. And if you have the best of the mentors, they are there to correct you. They're there to hold your hands. And that is why the whole learning is all about. And honestly, during past 6 7 months, I have got beautiful programs and beautiful accountability partners who have taken the fear out of anything out of me. And that is why I just said, at the starting of this live, that now I'm unstoppable. Because once you start unlayering your layers, what society, schools, parents, peers, colleagues have put onto you, you can't be you. You always wear a mask. And if this thing comes right from the childhood, the level of confidence, the level of transformation, the level of excellence is paramount. And that is what we are working over here now, going forward. So if you like what we are doing, please join us, Facebook group, WhatsApp group, or both. And you're most welcome in our discussions and in our closed space, where we would strive for the excellence for our children to get the best of the world, what they are uh, born here for. So have a good time. I'll see you tomorrow with a new topic. And if you are joining live, free passes for you for the program, which I am doing on the first weekend of May. And I'll send you the details. I'll DM you. So take care. Bye bye. See you tomorrow.